Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, quero dar as boas-vindas a todos para esta sessão da Futurecom Digital Week dedicada aos avanços do 5G e, em especial, à forma como a tecnologia 5G vai ajudar as aplicações para os vários domínios da economia, como o agronegócio, a manufatura avançada, a saúde ou as cidades inteligentes. Esta sessão é organizada pelo ETSI, o Instituto Europeu de Padrões de Telecomunicações, ou em inglês European Telecommunication Standards Institute, e a DG Connect da Comissão Europeia. E queria aqui realçar que o ETSI é a entidade mandatada pela Comissão Europeia para coordenar e implementar as orientações da União Europeia sobre padronização em vários domínios da agenda digital e que neste âmbito tem mantido regulares contactos com várias entidades brasileiras, entre as quais se destaca naturalmente o Anatel, mas também entidades como o CPQT, que, por exemplo, é um parceiro importante nesta atividade tecnológica. Para a nota de abertura, contamos com a presença do Sr. Secretário de Telecomunicações do Ministério das Comunicações, que será, por efeito, acompanhado pelo Sr. Embaixador da União Europeia, o Sr. Inácio Ibáñez. Permitam-me, por isso, endereçar uma palavra de especiais boas-vindas ao Sr. Secretário de Telecomunicações, Artur Coimbra, que tão gentilmente se disponibilizou para honrar com a sua participação esta nossa sessão. O Sr. Secretário de Telecomunicações tem tido um papel central no processo de lançamento do 5G no Brasil e as suas intervenções públicas têm sido seguidas com muito interesse nos vários eventos, de certa forma faz com que ele dispense mais apresentações. Sem mais delongas, proponho, por isso, passar a palavra ao Sr. Secretário Artur Coimbra e que será seguido imediatamente pelo Sr. Embaixador Inácio Ibáñez, na qualidade de representante máximo da União Europeia. Sr. Secretário Artur Coimbra, a palavra é sua, por favor.
Obrigado, Carlos. Cumprimento o embaixador da União Europeia, o Sr. Inácio Ibáñez. Cumprimento também os demais participantes desse evento, bem como a todos que nos estão assistindo. E agradeço ao ETSI e também à União Europeia pelo convite para participar dessa abertura, para essa discussão tão relevante de um tema que está candente aí no centro do debate brasileiro e no centro do debate europeu. A União Europeia e o Brasil possuem uma proximidade histórica na área de telecomunicações. Nos últimos 50 anos, ambos estiveram na vanguarda do desenvolvimento, por exemplo, da digitalização da telefonia e das comunicações ópticas. E no 5G não é diferente. Eu destaco aqui a profícua colaboração entre o Brasil e a União Europeia, que abrange aspectos de desenvolvimento de padrões tecnológicos para o 5G, mas também abrange projetos de aplicações, como o FAST, na área de manufatura avançada, com a participação da Embraer, e o SWAMP, sobre a gestão de água no agronegócio com a Embrapa e outras universidades, e várias universidades brasileiras. As empresas europeias elas já investem significativamente no mercado brasileiro, tanto no desenvolvimento quanto na fabricação de equipamentos, mas também na própria operação do serviço de telecomunicações. E aí aqui eu faço um destaque do primeiro cabo submarino de banda larga, lançado diretamente entre os nossos continentes, que entrou em operação recentemente, no começo deste ano, e que será importante para garantir um bom desempenho do 5G com a sua inerente baixa latência. O 5G, então, ele abre novas portas de colaboração e a gente espera que a energia criativa do empreendedorismo brasileiro possa também contribuir para o desenvolvimento europeu por meio do fornecimento e do desenvolvimento de aplicações. E aqui, então, eu desejo a todos uma ótima discussão.
Senhoras e senhores, gostaria de começar por endereçar as minhas cordiais saudações ao secretário de Telecomunicações no Ministério das Comunicações, Artur Coimbra, que comigo partilha esta breve nota de abertura desta sessão dedicada à cooperação União Europeia-Brasil no 5G. A União Europeia, que é um líder global no desenvolvimento do 5G, associou desde sempre o Brasil às ações de cooperação internacional lançadas nesta área. A declaração conjunta sobre 5G em 2016, o memorando de entendimento entre a PPP 5G europeia e a Telebrasil Conexis, os projetos financiados pela União e pelo Brasil sobre 5G e Internet das Coisas, os diabos submarino e a Link, são algumas ilustrações dos resultados concretos da cooperação que a União Europeia mantém com o Brasil. Todavia, a grande importância do 5G e o seu efeito transformador da economia, na indústria, no agronegócio, nas cidades inteligentes, na mobilidade urbana e na logística ou na saúde. Essa transformação vai também de encontro a um dos dois desafios mais cruciais que enfrentamos, as mudanças climáticas e a necessidade de pôr em execução a transição ecológica. Esta é a razão por que o Programa Europeu de Recuperação e Resiliência tem duas prioridades fundamentais: a transição ecológica e a transformação digital. Esta sessão, organizada pelo European Telecommunication Standard Institute, o ETSI, com o apoio da Comissão Europeia e em conjunto com os nossos parceiros brasileiros, tem por objetivo dar uma perspectiva geral sobre o que está em curso entre a União Europeia e o Brasil, com a implementação do Acordo União Europeia-Mercosul. É assim uma etapa que vai ser seguida outras ações. Um marco importante será o próximo diálogo União Europeia-Brasil sobre sociedade da informação e economia digital, em dezembro de 2021, mas também a iniciativa Team Europe sobre transformação digital, que junta a União Europeia e os Estados-membros no sentido de promover esta agenda junto com o Brasil. Termino com um agradecimento a todos os oradores, com uma mensagem especial ao José Contijo, do Ministério da Ciência, Tecnologia e Inovação, que é também um parceiro de longa data na cooperação União Europeia-Brasil no 5G. Estou convicto que as pessoas que estão a seguir esta sessão vão achar bem útil e interessante, e a União Europeia vai continuar a trabalhar para aprofundar a nossa colaboração com o Brasil no 5G e na transformação digital. A todos, cordiais saudações e bom trabalho.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are back again to introduce you one more presentation in our session on 5G advanced standards and technologies. In front of us, we are going to have my good friend, José Luis Almodóvar Chico. José is an engineer and actually having a very important role as chair of the Working Group 1 on 5G. Working Group 1 deals with service requirements. José has a very extensive involvement in 5G development activities. He participated in many of the projects leading to the development of 5G technology in the context of the 5G PPP and the IoT. He is also very much involved in other tasks with important research organizations in Netherlands, TNO, KPN, and he is also holds a master's degree in electrical engineering from the Technical University of Delft, the very much renowned engineering university in Netherlands. And of course, he's also a degree in telematics engineering from Carlos III University. I mean, the presentation of José Almodóvar is going to discuss very much about what is the midterm evolution of 5G and how this really feeds and contributes to the development of vertical applications that take full benefits of the advantages and the evolution of 5G. Back to you, Jose.
Thank you, Carlos. Thanks a lot for the warm introduction. Hi, everybody. First, thanks to the organization to invite me to talk to you today. My name is Jose Almodóvar. Like Carlos said, I'm the chair of the SE1 working group in 3EPP that has to do with the use cases and requirements. And what I would like to talk to you all today is about 5G, the path that we 3EPP have taken in 5G towards 5G Advanced, and how this is enabling vertical applications. So I would like to start my presentation with talking about a bit about 5G for those of you who are not familiarized with. So 3EPP is the 3G partner private partnership. We are a standard organization which are in charge of the mobile network standards, and we work in proactive contribution. So we are contribution driven. That means that all our partners can bring the use cases, the solutions, their needs, their problems that they want, and we work on consensus. We are more than 750 companies worldwide participating in this moment in 3GPP. We are from all over the world, as you can see. All the major telecommunications companies are there, operators, network, and device vendors has also joined us. And day by day, we see more and more vertical commitment, vertical companies coming to 3EPP, as we will show a bit later. Amazing track record. Well, we started 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago already, in 1998. We have standardized 3G, 4G, and now what we will talk about today, 5G. And something important I would like to resemble is that we work with the concept of releases. What is a release? It's a group of features that by itself make sense and also make operative network, operative system. And we do develop a release between every 24 months. We have this kind of cycles of working on releases, which also make 3EPP really responsive to what the market needs, because we are able to get on board the needs that we get from the market as soon as we know them. Now we think about 5G and we see it in the early 2017. We started with the first release of 5G, which was release 15, or how many of us call it, the phase 1 of 5G. It will be impossible for me today to explain you all the characteristics that are within a release, because you can imagine that there are quite some, and actually I put more information in the annex of these slides, just if some of you are interested on it. But in this first phase, we really focus in one of the promises of 5G, which was enhanced mobile broadband. So if we take the ITU triangle of the promises of 5G, where we have enhanced mobile broadband, ultra reliable and low latency communications, and massive IoT, this first phase, we focus on this first part, while also developing what is the new radio 5G, the NR interfaces. Also, of course, the core 5G comes with a new core based on a new architecture called system-based architecture. So now we are not talking about entities, we are talking about network function, which is quite a disruptive idea in the telecom world if we come from, or coming from 4G. And we also develop one other disruptive characteristic or promise of 5G, which is the basic concept of slicing. We started with the basic concepts in release 15, then we enhanced them. But the idea of having different networks in one network was already envisioned in release 15. Afterwards, we went to release 16, which the releases are something on top of each other, as you can see. And there we started with what we call 5G phase 2. We went to the triangle of ITU. If you go there, we can see that we focus on the other two promises of 5G. We focus on the ultra reliable and low latency communications, trying to go to these KPIs that you can see, or we could all read on the 5G papers, so important for verticals. Also in the massive IoT communication, in the million of devices connected, million of IoT devices connected to our networks, also really important for verticals. And we also introduced new concepts like the non-public networks, like the possibility of having 5G LAN services over the 5G, or time-sensitive networks, again, which are important for verticals, for example, for smart industry. Release 17, the next release of 5G, which is almost finished, goes a bit beyond that the two before. Here we are talking about satellite access. So finally, satellite is one more technology to access the 5G network. Positioning enhancements. We already did positioning on 5G, but now we try to go closer to those promises KPIs again on the numbers. Proximity services, mobile broadcast, interactive cloud service support. Those are other examples of this release where we try really to enhance the system to go to the last parts that we thought and we saw from verticals that we will be needed. And talking about verticals, it will be wrong to think that vertical was something new for 3GPP or for the telecommunication networks in 5G. Actually, before that, already in 4G in LTE, we had active verticals, and the system was used for verticals, for example, public safety, automotive with LTE-V2X, or smart meters, which were already running in telecom networks in 4G. What we have seen with 5G is that there is a whole new world that we have addressed with verticals quite different from each other. Maybe the most famous will be smart industry or the medical world. But as you see, we have addressed the needs of the maritime vertical, the logistic, the audiovisual production. Now we are not only thinking about using the network in order to broadcast content or media content, we are talking about using the network also to create that content, to upload the creation of that content. Drones, technology or a vertical that today is so important and a hype in our technological worlds, is also part of 5G. Lately also smart grids, the smart the electricity utilities networks or association has joined us also in 3GPP to be sure that 5G is ready for a smart grid. We work with the railway sector in IFR-MCS, and like I already said, satellites. And like I introduced on my first slide, you can see that with the 5G, the industry involvement has really grown. So you see here a lot of logos from companies that I'm sure you will all recognize. These are now active partners of 3GPP, are active partners bringing and explaining us the use cases, how they envision the technology will be used, how they envision 5G can play a role in the respective markets, in the respective industries. And they are not only active in the use case group, which I chair, they are also active in other groups trying to be sure that the solutions that we develop are actually in tune or are actually the right ones for their needs. So you will see people like I cannot think which to choose, but Siemens, Bosch, Philips, 5G AA, Continental, all of these are now active partners of 3GPP, active members. And the last thing that I would like to introduce you today is where are we today? I would like to give you an idea of what 3GPP is doing nowadays. And what it has started for now is that for us now is that it's time for 5G Advance. So 5G Advance is our way to bring 5G more into the future, taking new technological and also societal challenges or developments that we are seeing now every day. The people that we work in technology, not only environmental requirements, which all we know how important they are, but also artificial intelligence or virtual extended reality, just to name a few. And release 18 is the beginning of 5G Advance. I already presented you release 15, 16, and 17, giving you a glimpse of what those releases bring. Release 18, which actually is under discussion, will be the beginning, will mark the beginning of 5G Advance, so from 18 onwards. And here in this slide, you can see the kind of topics that now we are discussing. From those, we will have to choose the content of the release. From those, we will have to choose the group of features that will make release 18, the first release of 5G Advance. To give you some examples, we are talking, like I said, about artificial intelligence. We are talking for the first time how to use artificial intelligence in our networks, but also how the network can support artificial intelligence and machine learning based services. We are introducing the RedCap devices. RedCap for us is reduced capabilities. So we have seen that 5G devices are really complex. And now we are trying to go to some kind of devices that will be 5G, but it will be a bit more in a reduced capabilities. Maybe they will not have all the broadband and latency features that a normal 5G device, but they will be for sure part of the network, being able to get the services, which will be really important. This simplicity, this less complexity will be really important for some verticals in order to have less complex and cheaper solutions. We are now talking also about residential networks. We are talking about having relays on the vehicles. So that you see, of course, network energy service. So that you see, we are really discussing a lot of topics. If you are more interested, I left also a couple of links where you can see all the topics, because this is only a small extract of them. And by December this year, which means next month, the plenaries of 3GPP will decide what will be the content of release 18. Although the options where we can choose the content of release 18, the content of the first release of 5G Advance are already settled, the 3GPP-SA1 group, the one that I chair, we have started already working on the use cases or collecting the use cases and the requirement for release 19. So let me use this opportunity also to send you an invitation in order to make us aware, to send us the needs, the use cases that you and your industries, and especially in Latin America, you see for this technology, in order for us to take it account. 3PP, we try to have global standards. We are open to contributions. We are open to your feedback and your comments, and we would love to hear from them. So don't hesitate to contact us, to really send us those use cases and requirements for us to take it into consideration. And with this, I will finish my presentation for today. Thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. And Carlos, back to you.
Thank you very much, Jose Almodovar. And it was very interesting to listen a little bit to your insightful perspectives about what is the orientations of 5G advanced and also the intermediate steps leading to new applications of this technology in different areas of our economy. Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, estou de volta novamente ao ecrã para ter o privilégio e a honra de vos apresentar José Gontijo, diretor de Ciência e Tecnologia e Inovação Digital, junto ao Ministério da Ciência e Tecnologia e Inovação, e também secretário adjunto de Empreendedorismo, mas para além destas importantes funções, é também um importante parceiro na cooperação entre a União Europeia e o Brasil sobre os temas digitais e, em particular, sobre tópicos como, por exemplo, o 5G e a Internet das Coisas, tendo acompanhado os projetos que nós temos vindo a desenvolver em conjunto sobre estas matérias que foram iniciados em 2018. O José Gontijo vai nos falar precisamente sobre aquilo que é a estratégia no Brasil sobre 5G e Internet das Coisas, mas em especial 5G, orientado para os setores verticais da economia, que já foram mencionados anteriormente, a manufatura avançada, as cidades inteligentes, o agronegócio, a saúde, e nós estou seguro que vai ser uma apresentação muito interessante e que vamos seguir com muito interesse. José Gontijo, é um prazer tê-lo perante nós. Passo-lhe a palavra.
Obrigado, Carlos. É sempre um prazer estar compartilhando as conversas, esses diálogos tão frutíferos com os nossos amigos europeus. Realmente, eu vou compartilhar minha tela aqui, vou pedir para o pessoal colocar ela aqui na tela. Eu queria falar para vocês um pouco das iniciativas que o Ministério tem feito, né, nos últimos anos, e com uma parceria muito grande, né, com a União Europeia, acerca do como você desenvolve, né, esse ecossistema de 5G no Brasil, né? É importante, antes de começar, mostrar quem são esses atores desse ecossistema, né? Nós temos, então, ali o Ministério das Comunicações e a Anatel, com a conectividade, com a infraestrutura, com gestão do espectro, né? Competição nesse setor, né, das telecomunicações. Nós temos aí as empresas que se associaram, criando o movimento 5G Brasil, né, lá no âmbito da Conexis, né, inclusive fizeram um acordo de cooperação com o seu equivalente europeu, aí, no qual nós acompanhamos de perto, né, onde elas pensam em trials, padronização, harmonização e essa interação e sincronização entre os atores privados. Temos a sociedade civil, que demanda essa economia digital, esses serviços novos para buscar uma melhor qualidade de vida, e o nosso Ministério da Ciência, Tecnologia e Inovação, com as políticas digitais, onde nós temos a Estratégia Brasileira de Transformação Digital, o Plano Nacional de Internet das Coisas, Inteligência Artificial, o MCT Futuro, um grande programa de formação, pesquisa, desenvolvimento e inovação, e toda a indústria de tecnologia da informação e comunicação que está sobre nosso acompanhamento, principalmente em relação aos investimentos de pesquisa que elas vêm fazendo. Em 2018, né, para contextualizar, nós lançamos a Estratégia Brasileira para a Transformação Digital, onde você busca transformar o governo e a economia por meio de investimento em infraestrutura, pesquisa, na confiança do uso das tecnologias, educação, formação de recursos humanos e a dimensão internacional. É preciso que exista essa interação do Brasil com outros atores, como é o caso que nós temos aí um amplo diálogo com o DG Connect da União Europeia, com os Estados Unidos, com a própria Coreia do Sul, China e por aí vai. E, atualmente, nós estamos em processo de revisão para atualizar esse documento que vai ser o novo marco da transformação digital do Brasil no período de 2022 até 2023. Quando foi em 2019, nós lançamos o Plano Nacional de Internet das Coisas por meio de um decreto presidencial, onde nós estabelecemos 4 ambientes priorizados, pois um país que prioriza tudo não prioriza nada. E escolhemos indústria, agricultura, cidades e saúde como os ambientes onde o governo envedaria esforços, traria o setor privado e a academia para sentarmos juntos e delinear políticas públicas e ações que, de fato, permitissem a adoção da melhor forma possível de tecnologias nesses setores, onde 2 são muito voltados para o produto interno bruto brasileiro, né, que é a indústria e o agronegócio. Só o agronegócio são 25% do PIB. E cidades e saúde, que afetam diretamente a qualidade de vida da nossa população. Ali tem números, né, da ordem de bilhões, não importa a precisão, mas é que serão bilhões, ou de ganhos, ou de redução de custos provenientes da implementação da melhor forma possível dessas tecnologias no Brasil. Em 2019, 2021, nós estabelecemos as câmeras 4.0, onde a partir dessa priorização que foi feita no plano de IoT, no âmbito da estratégia brasileira de transformação digital, nós sentimos a necessidade de discutir mais profundamente as questões, desde regulatório, passando pela viabilidade econômica, porque quando a gente pensa em questões regulatórias numa cidade, é diferente na área de saúde, que é diferente de uma área do agronegócio. E é preciso pegar os atores que de fato entendem desse ecossistema, de modo que eles trouxessem para nós as propostas de ações para serem implementadas de maneira sincronizada. A mais antiga dessas câmaras é a Câmara da Indústria 4.0, onde atualmente ela já está na sua terceira versão do plano de trabalho e as outras duas já foram implementadas. Isso é um movimento cíclico. O plano de ação é implementado, nós voltamos para a prancheta, vemos o que foi feito, como podemos melhorar, e isso vai evoluindo. É um modelo de governança participativa, onde a gente coloca o governo, todos os ministérios envolvidos, em níveis estadual, municipal também, trazemos a indústria e a academia para discutir as melhores ações. Mais recentemente, o ministro do Turismo nos pediu apoio, uma vez que o setor do turismo foi um dos mais afetados na pandemia, e nós estabelecemos também a Câmara do Turismo 4.0, de modo que nós pudéssemos trazer essa mesma dinâmica para promover a tecnologia, a adoção de tecnologia no âmbito do setor econômico que é o turismo. Agora, em 2021, nós lançamos também a Estratégia Brasileira de Inteligência Artificial, baseado numa consulta pública que foi realizada, benchmark internacional, e definimos eixos transversais e verticais, buscando abordar a governança, a legislação, o uso ético da inteligência artificial, passando por educação, por políticas públicas, segurança pública, e pensando sempre no cidadão no centro. Como que a gente consegue trazer a inteligência artificial para melhor prover serviços de qualidade para a população, como a indústria pode ser mais competitiva, sem esquecer os aspectos internacionais, onde o Brasil também ingressou no GPA, que é o Global Partnership for Artificial Intelligence, tem trabalhado no âmbito do G20, da OCDE, em vários fóruns multilaterais, buscando alinhar as iniciativas do Brasil de inteligência artificial. E tudo isso só vai acontecer e vai ter um burst, né, vai ser acelerado com as comunicações avançadas, né? Nós temos as grandes redes de fibra, temos agora o leilão do 5G acontecendo, lembrando que o 5G ele não é apenas aquelas torres que você vai colocar na cidade, você tem que ter um backbone, um backhaul para escoar o tráfego de dados, para manter essa resiliência, essa latência que se espera do 5G, de um investimento muito grande você precisa ter para que exista essa rede robusta o suficiente, né? E já pensando beyond, né? Eu conversava muito com nossos colegas do DG Connect, falando, a gente tem que pensar no 5G, mas a gente tem que pensar no 5G e beyond. O que vai ser o 6G? Tem que ser começado a pensar agora, pensando em Open Run, como podemos trabalhar de maneira conjunta, como já fizemos em 5G, por exemplo, com 5G Range, com FAST, com tantos outros projetos que foram implementados em parceria entre as duas regiões do mundo, entre os dois lados do Atlântico, que realmente tiveram sucesso e trouxeram vários frutos, né? Temos empresas europeias investindo em pesquisa, em centros de pesquisa aqui no Brasil em 5G, do mesmo modo que grupos de pesquisa brasileiros têm trabalhado diretamente com grupos de pesquisa europeus. E não podemos ter isso acontecendo se não formarmos recursos humanos, né? Precisamos de pessoas, precisamos de cérebros. Então, o Ministério lançou recentemente o MCTI Futuro, que a gente espera formar 40 mil programadores sênior nos próximos 3 anos. É um investimento que já está sendo realizado nesse momento, é da ordem de 168 milhões de reais, e a expectativa é que esse volume aumente. E além desses 40 mil programadores, nós esperamos treinar 1 milhão de pessoas nesse ecossistema digital, né, para que as pessoas entendam o que vai desde programação até a própria cultura digital, através de uma plataforma de ensino à distância. Considerando isso, nós temos, então, todo esse arcabouço, né, da estratégia brasileira para a transformação digital, onde nós temos as câmaras 4.0, nós temos as tecnologias e os eixos habilitadores sendo o alicerce para fazer essa transformação digital acontecer. E isso só vai acontecer com a conectividade, permitindo a feature, permitindo a resiliência e permitindo que as novas aplicações que ainda nem surgiram, que as startups estão lá, né, dentro das suas garagens, digamos assim, fazendo o seu desenvolvimento, fazendo a sua ideação, e que quando as redes estiverem postas e de fato em serviço comercial, essas empresas vão poder usufruir dos benefícios dessa conectividade. Realmente é um potencial muito grande que a gente vê e que está para acontecer. Os países que já começaram a colocar as redes comerciais têm nos reportado os benefícios, mas a grande verdade é que apenas quando essas redes estiverem de fato implementadas é que o ecossistema de inovação vai ter a infraestrutura para testar as soluções inovadoras que eles estão desenhando. E a gente aguarda com bastante expectativa e colocando todo o apoio do nosso ministério. O ministro Marcos Pontes sempre gosta de dizer que nós somos a grande caixa de ferramentas, e é assim que nós nos vemos, Todas essas câmaras 4.0, elas são em parceria com os ministérios finalísticos, com as cidades, com o Ministério do Desenvolvimento Regional, com a saúde, com o Ministério da Saúde, a agricultura, com o Ministério da Agricultura, da indústria, com o Ministério da Economia e turismo, com o Ministério do Turismo. Então, o nosso Ministério canaliza os nossos instrumentos em parceria com os nossos parceiros, no caso das comunicações, desenvolvendo novas tecnologias, de modo que a gente possa, de fato, estar par a par com o mundo no caminho para a transformação digital. Muito obrigado.
Ladies and gentlemen, back to you again, and to give continuation to our session on 5G advanced standards and technologies. And it is my pleasure to introduce you to the next speaker, Mr. Uwe Rudenklau. Is currently leading the standardization activities at Infineon Technologies, actually one of the top 10 semiconductor companies in the world. Uwe is also vice chair of the new 5G ACIA, stands for Alliance for Connected Industries and Automation, and more specifically about the working group on liaisons and dissemination. Additionally, Uwe is also a representative at ETSI and actively working in the millimeter wave transmission industry specification group, and also a very strong involvement in other standardization activities with IEC, being notably co-governor of the working group for MEMS. The presentation of Uwe is going to be very much discussing the topics of smart manufacturing and how 5G can effectively contribute to this. Uwe, my pleasure. You have the word.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Yeah, it's a pleasure also to have the opportunity to speak here on behalf of 5G ACIA, set for the smart manufacturing industry. And today I will talk about smart manufacturing, the global requirements related to 5G, and some benefits using the standards to roll out this in factories. And with this, we go to the first slide. Here it's about the industry itself. If we go to the next slide. It's about the industry itself. And as I said, we are working in this alliance to get an understanding from two industries, the ICT, which is the telecom industry, and the OT, which is the vertical industry, in this case for manufacturing. What we are doing here is we are bringing this together, and this starts with simple things to have a common language and abbreviations between the two industries. However, we are now further steps onwards and reflecting there also the requirements and standardization and regulation there, and bring this back set to the standardization organizations. Especially, we are analyzing also there how 5G may enhance the industrial IoT area. Specifically, as said, related to automation, manufacturing, and we are currently also looking into certifications and testing needs with working there with established players. We develop also their sustainable industrial ecosystem around 5G in the globe. This group has in the meantime close to 90 members from all over the globe, and as said, from ICT, so telecom, as well as the vertical industries. We promote this, like today, globally on a worldwide base, to have this as a leading organization there to drive this industrial 5G. Then we go to the next information. And this is the potential applications in this, we call it industrial 5G. So I said focusing on these two areas. And here we see, especially in factory and in manufacturing, that we have here areas of mobile portable assets. As you can see here as an example, then moving parts of and rotating parts, which is a special topic for sure in manufacturing with the robots. And especially in automation, you have many sensors, which are in most cases are getting more and more wireless, for sure can be also wired. And in manufacturing, this is also a trend with glasses or VRs, virtual reality glasses for human-machine interaction. A new field is, and there comes also then the higher frequencies into place, can be in the sub-gigahertz or gigahertz range, so millimeter wave position and tracking of objects within a factory. This could be, again, moving objects, but also fixed ones. Then we look into how to optimize the production in a modular case so that it can be transferred from one manufacturing site. So it could be from semiconductor, where I'm coming from, up to car production, but also other production areas. And for sure, we look also into retrofit solutions. And the ultimate goal, which we have not achieved yet, but that's why we are still there, is to find a solution with 5G to one size fits all. With this, we are now looking to some example requirements, as I said, for the manufacturing or the 5G in manufacturing side and automation. And here I'm showing here the extreme requirements. So not all of the manufacturing needs those requirements. For this, we have prepared then so-called white papers within 5G ACIA, where we are detailing this up to the different use cases and application areas. So to name a few numbers, we are looking here at latencies. So it means from end to end, so really across the whole network, of down to 1 millisecond is that as one extreme. We talk about devices which are very dense, so it could be more than 10,000 per square kilometers, as well as high data rates, but as that this will differ depending on application, up to several gigabits. And we're looking also for very synchronizing applications, could be down to 1 microseconds. And which is for sure important is the availability of this 5G service as a communication, where this must be similar to a wired with more than 6 nines, so above 99.999% availability. So this is really what is driving this industry and driving the demands for this manufacturing. Looking into some more details, if you go to the next slide, what are the benefits there also using standards to simplify this rollout? And here I have to say 5G ICA is looking into this, and we have a lot of members, as I said, from over 90 companies. These companies are going then, as we also heard before, into 3GPP and bringing this back into related standardization. However, 5G ICA is also providing documents, relevant documents, which are white papers, so accessible also via the website and accessible for everybody. However, we have to say that there will be only a few standards really for 5G rollout in factories. But as said, we make recommendations for an efficient rollout to support this industry efforts. As an example, and I will not go into all details, there are also footnotes with references. But one, as I said, which is very important related to 5G is, again, as said before, 3GPP with technical standardizations like mentioned here, as well as requirements for standard compliant radio functionality in industrial environments. And this is for sure, again, specific, also defined in 3GPP run working groups. And this is from run 1 up to run 4, where 4 is looking in, especially on the radio side for base stations of 5G as well as the devices. Looking into more standards, these are specifications, technical specifications, again, for industrial, defining industrial KPIs and functionalities and protocols there. And this is also, I think, mentioned time-sensitive networks supported in 3GPP. And a very specific one, I come to this in one more slide in detail, non-public networks. defined there, as well as security requirements, which for sure are important, especially for manufacturing, to have a very safe network on your side, supported by white papers, as well as integration of industrial protocols coming from TSN, as well as Ethernet with IEEE. And finally, also digital twins and asset administration shells, AAS, to integrate 5G into the production network. And here, there's a lot of work ongoing, for example, in standardization with Industry 4.0, but also in IEC with technical committees, in this case TC65 working groups, where we are also working with to bring this in, as well as with our papers. And on the other side, we are looking, as I said, on the devices and certifications. We are looking there, is there already a need for more certification, or is it sufficient what is available? For example, currently we started there also so-called work item to look into the device certification performance with Global Certification Forum or PTCRB certification forum. So there are various others already existing where we are aligning with. And as well, we are looking there also into the integration with another standardization group. If you go to the another information, integration with OPC UA, they are looking into industry standards for communication between devices, controllers, machines, and other systems to make the best out of this, and to look into different manufacturers that they are using the same interfaces and provide a framework for the industrial interoperability. So here is a discussion also how to do this in an efficient manner. Then I would say we go to the next one with 4 examples, 2 on this page, that selected achievements in 5G ACIA where white papers that are available, can be downloaded. As said before, one is really that the 5G system from this view which we created can be considered as a logical TSN time-sensitive bridge from the outside world, and this is described in detail here in this paper. On the second paper on the right side, you see security aspects for 5G and industrial networks. And here we were looking into the all details of the different levels as described here, and respectively also referring to an existing standard, again from the international organization IEC called 62443, how this can satisfy the security requirements of the OT, or you can say in general, vertical industry. If you go to the next 2 examples, these are now, as said on the left side, the so-called non-public network. You can say, others say also campus networks. So these are dedicated networks for verticals, which can be created as a so-called standalone network. This is then completely independent of public networks from the outside, created on your campus, on your manufacturing site. But there are all kind of flavors which we are showing there also and describing in the white papers, which could be in between. So there are different deployments, and here I have to say, as I said, there's a goal one fits all, but this is not one fits all. It depends really on your requirements of the network, that you combine it with the public network on different levels, or you make it really completely standalone. And the last one on the right side is, again, as I said, digital twins and the administration shell there to integrate this into your network. And as I said, here we're working, as I said before, with organizations like OPC UA, how to integrate this and how to make out of this a common understanding and description to unify methods for the engineering of such networks and the use and deployment, as well as how to monitor and control the network itself with descriptions we are currently doing for 5G exposure interfaces. With this, I would go then to the last one, which is mainly say thank you to everybody. And also my last message is you're invited, especially from Latin America, to join also this alliance to take into consideration your requirements for the manufacturing. Thank you very much. I give back to Carlos.
It's up to us actually to thank you, Mr. Uwe Rudenklau. It was a very insightful and informative presentation, and I'm sure that it goes right to the heart and the minds of the attendants here from the Brazil and even more broadly from Latin America. This is definitely a topic and an area where we have seen lots of expressions of interest coming from Brazilian stakeholders, also European companies operating in this part of the world. Thank you very much. I'm sure that we are going to ask you actually to come back to us and to go into more discussions on these topics. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, here I am again to guide you through the last stages of today's session on 5G technology, 5G evolution, and its contribution to the digital transformation of our economies. I would like to introduce my colleagues at ETSI, European Telecommunications Standards Institute, that have orchestrated this session, and they will be providing you with the conclusions and next steps. I recall that ETSI plays a central role in the development of EU standardization activities by delegation of DG Connect from the European Commission. I have the pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Xavier Piednoir from ETSI. Xavier is project manager for InDiCo, a project funded by the European Union to support international cooperation on digital standards. Xavier, over to you.
Thank you, Carlos, and thank you for allowing me to be part of this session. So as we saw earlier today, 5G is a leap forward, but the deployment of 5G means much more than the improved mobile communications as we know them, in mobile broadband. In this case, whole sectors of the industry, of entertainment, of social and health services, of transportation will be able to fully embrace the digitization of our society as it becomes more and more connected. A perfect example is the set of priority sectors that have been outlined in Brazil's National Plan for the Internet of Things, which will be a great contributor to digitization of strategic areas. With this, local and regional digital ecosystems will develop, and they will in turn become enablers for the country to reinforce its status of player in the global digital ecosystem. And with COP26 taking place as we speak, it's also worth noting that a smart industry is also a greener industry. For example, digitization of agriculture will allow optimized use of agricultural resources, meeting both business and societal expectations while preserving the natural assets. It is important to note as well that the 5G standards themselves are evolving to improve the energy efficiency. But a key element in the context of new deployments is the technical cooperation in support of ICT policy and regulatory frameworks, in partnership with local institutions. In Europe, for example, we have instruments as well as funding from the European Union, for example, in our InDiCo project, in order to establish and develop this technical cooperation with our counterparts in various regions, including Brazil and Latin America, ultimately delivering harmonized technical solutions that support aligned political goals. Our ambition is to create this platform where small and big actors of the industry, of research and academia, where societal stakeholders as well as government bodies can exchange their views and shape a common vision of what is needed to enable a digital society. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us, and 5G standards are evolving to meet them with 5G advanced coming soon as the midterm, more energy efficient evolution of 5G, better addressing specific industry sectors, but also paving the way for future systems and another generation of mobile communications. We have to keep in mind that transverse topics require our constant attention as well. Security and privacy are key topics that must be part of the design of products and services from day one, and in both consumer and industry-grade products. Cybersecurity threats increase in a digital society, and they need to be anticipated and mitigated. And as we know, security threats do not know the concept of borders, so they will not stop at the end of a region. They are a global challenge that we need to get together to address. We also generate and consume more and more data, which comes from larger and larger systems. We need to work on interoperability of data, on common ways to describe data in order to harvest the value of information in the best way. Let's remember that upcoming AI systems rely on machine learning will be great consumers of data. And the easiest data is to consume and to select from, the better these systems can become. Again, a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities which call for international cooperation. From the ETSI side, we will follow up on today's exchange and ensure that a continued dialogue is established between Brazil and Europe at the technical level, with a view to foster technical cooperation and contribute to the development and use of global standards. Thanks, and we look forward for the next steps.